Testing. This is on, if you don't mind. It could go on your clippy thing, or it could sit if you're not comfortable with it.
I can wear a clippy thing. That's not a problem.
I gotta leave now.
Okay, all right, well, it was great to meet you. I'll hang on to that. Yeah, great to have you
And
come.
my flight's at 5 o'clock, so I wanna take the 3 o'clock bus to get over there.
Right.
Because,
Once an hour is not enough.
yeah, well, it's only 15 minutes, it's like 4:15, then we gotta go up around, I don't know. At Maita Airport, I know how fast I go through.
Uh-huh.
This time I went through, there was no lights. This is here,
All right, well, have a good trip.
Yeah. Going back down.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right, let's get everybody back to our seats so we can get going. Hopefully that little bit of interaction's got you all woken up and ready to go again.
Before you sit down, Justin gave us all permission yesterday to be silly and lighthearted and use our voices. So I'm going to invite you to join me in a song that I'm teaching my kids, and a song that I teach at our homeschool group every week, and a song that I teach our kids choir every week. So I'll do it once or twice for you. Feel free to join in when you're ready. There's a little bit of action involved so that we can put it in our brains. When you're moving and singing, you learn it better. Oh, be joyful, oh, be jubilant, put your sorrows far away. Come rejoice and sing together this happy day. Oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful, put your sorrows away. Oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful on this day. I'll do it again. Oh, be joyful, oh, be jubilant, put your sorrows far away. Come rejoice and sing together this happy day. Oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful, put your sorrows away. Oh, be joyful, oh, be joyful on this day. Thank you. I'm going to start out with a story for you. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who was blind. And she had a sister who loved her very, very much. And this sister's name was Avila. And Avila wanted nothing. Is this working?
Might be turned off. Let me check.
I'll start again with the story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Avila who had a blind sister. She loved her sister very much, and she wanted her sister to be able to see. She wanted her sister to be able to see all the beauty in the world, and she just yearned for her sister to be able to have sight. And she heard a story once that there was a woman who lived in the cave far away who could give her sister the gift of sight. So her parents were worried about it. They didn't think it was a wise idea, but they finally agreed to let her go and try to find a way to help her blind sister see. She went and she found this old woman spinning inside a cave and said, "Can you help my sister see?" "If you will take this ball of yarn," said the woman, "all the way around the world and bring it back to me, I will help your sister be able to see." So little Avila was faithful, and she started going. She took that ball of yarn with her, and she started going through the forest. And it was scary, and it was dark, and she wasn't sure if she was going to make it. There were things that were making noises, and it was creaking. But she heard a little breeze say, "It's going well. It's working. Look behind you." So she turned and looked behind her, and everywhere that golden thread had gone was a beautiful pathway carved through the forest, where there weren't anything to stumble over, the trees had been moved, and there were beautiful flowers along the path. So Avila kept going. She kept going until she came to a swamp. And this nasty swamp was muddy and yucky and dirty and gross, and she just was tripping and slipping, and it was nasty. And it was hard, and it was sweaty and hot, and there were things flying and buzzing in her face. But the little frog said to her, "Look behind you, you're doing great." And behind her, a dry path had opened up through the swamp everywhere that this thread had gone. And behind her, the ball of yarn was golden and it was glowing with light. She kept going. She made it to a dreary desert where it was extremely hot and she was parched for thirst and she didn't know how she could keep going, but she kept thinking of her little sister that she wanted to be able to see. And as she kept going, the little yellow butterflies cheered her up and said, "Look behind you, look what you're doing." And the little ball of thread had turned to gold behind her. Everywhere that thread had touched, everywhere that skein of yarn had touched the hot desert sand were jewels, and shade trees had sprung up, and it was now a beautiful path with a little bit of a stream even. "Okay," she said, "if I can do this, I can do anything." And she kept going. She got to a mountain that was so high she didn't even see the top of it above the clouds. "How can I do this?" she thought. But she thought of her little sister who was blind and she wanted her to be able to see, so she kept climbing this mountain. And she got higher and higher and it was harder to breathe, and she saw 2 eagles fly over and they said, "Keep going, we will meet you at the top." So little Avila kept going all the way to the top of the mountain, and when she turned to look behind her, a path of marble stairs had appeared everywhere that golden thread had passed, and anyone who wanted could climb the mountain after her. She made it all the way around the world, back to the cave, to the old woman she brought her the thread. The old woman jumped up and was immediately released from the spell that she had been under. She had been the princess of a king, but she was selfish and she was cruel, and she didn't show love to anyone. But this one act of sacrifice and service had freed this woman, and she was back to herself, and she said, "I will help you. No one has been willing to sacrifice for someone else, but you have set me free. Let me help your sister. All you have to do is take this golden thread that you have taken all over the world and dip it in water and put that water on your sister's eyes, and she will be able to see." So little Avila did it, and she gave her sister the gift of sight. I love fairy tales because of what they teach you, and I hope that this fairy tale can be something that you think about over and over and over as you take your little balls of thread throughout your journeys and find the paths that are being made free behind you as you traverse where no one has gone, so that others can see. We talk about leadership and influence, and in my homeschool group, we have learned from a group called LEMI, Leadership Education Mentoring Institute, about what are called the keys of personal influence. And I was attracted to the ideology of a Thomas Jefferson education early on. One of its tenets is inspire, not require. And people have arguments all day long on the internet about what that means. But to me, it resonated because I am not interested in using the tools of tyranny. Like Thomas Jefferson, I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Tyranny is a lot easier. Requiring people to do stuff is a lot easier. You just have to have some force. You just have to have some bullies and some bad guys, and you can make people do what you want. It's a lot harder to inspire people and influence them. The difference between tyranny and influence. On tyranny side, we have compulsion, we have coercion, threats, violence, force, bribes, and extortion. If you're leaving this behind, if you choose to be different and not be like the bullies of the world, you have to have other tools. And those tools are influence, oral persuasion, written persuasion, example, prayer, service, the arts, and even love. So what's your capacity for influence? I love this chart idea here. On the one axis, we have character, and on the other, we have competence. If you have really high character but really low competence, you're not going to have that much capacity for influence. You'll have some, but if you have great competence and zero character, same thing. You won't have that much capacity for influence. The more we increase along both of these axes, the more competent we become in the skills of influencing, the more we know our stuff so that we're not fumbling, the better we are at articulating our stuff so that we are clear and precise. The more compassionate we are in our character, the more we actually care about the people that we're talking to, even if we disagree with them or think they disagree with us, the more influential and impactful we will be able to be. Our capacity for influence will increase as we increase in our character and our competence. So these 6 keys of personal influence, let's go over them. Oral persuasion. Here we've got a picture of 3 great orators. We've got Patrick Henry, who said, "Give me liberty or give me death." John Adams, who said, "Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write." And he was worried about it. He thought he was obnoxious and disliked, and he kept talking anyway, sometimes to his detriment, but I'm glad that he did. And we've got Charlie Kirk, who died for it, who just kept talking and kept arguing and trying to persuade people. Charlie Kirk didn't have a foundation that was grabbing money so that it could force people to do whatever he thought was right. He was trying to persuade people. We can use speeches, conversations, casual conversations even, YouTube channels, podcasts, lobbying, teaching other people, lectures. Lots of ways to make our words matter. In our homeschool group, we have our kids study the great speeches of the world and how those have impacted people. They're studying rhetoric. They're studying the speeches of Gandhi, the speeches of Martin Luther King Jr., the speeches of Martin Luther. They're studying the speeches of Patrick Henry. Like, why was this effective? How did this work? And then they're practicing. Every week, these upper level kids, they got the chance to practice. And I have one fun success story about that. My daughter was in this class, and we're really lucky because the class sizes are so cute and small that there's a lot of individual attention, right? She found out about this Rotary Club speech contest, and she went for it. She crafted a speech, and she got up there, and she's 16 years old. She was 1 year older than all the girls who were competing at her level, but she had experience memorizing the Gettysburg Address, memorizing and reciting the preamble to the Constitution, memorizing and reciting the Declaration of Independence in our homeschool group, and lots and lots and lots of Shakespeare. So she did not have any problem talking in front of people. That not a problem at all for her. She gets up there and she looked everyone in the eye. She had it memorized, and she delivered an effective speech, and she won against all these poor little homeschool or actual high school, public high school kids who, they didn't stand a chance because they'd never encountered actual ideas, let alone listen to a real speech by someone who was passionately engaged in something. So she made it all the way to she earned she got $500 2 times. So she got like $1,000 for this. And she was so thrilled with this. She didn't make it at the final one because they drew names or whatever. And the girl who got up right before her, I was like, oh, so it's your clone. And she's going to pull out, using the full stage and doing all these things. If she had just gone right before her, it might have been a little bit of a chance. But there's power in being persuasive. And if you don't feel like this is one of your strengths, you can get better at it. Watch what people do, listen to great speeches, and then analyze them. And then make yourself give speeches. Give speeches to yourself in your dreams. That's where I do most of my practicing. I think of what I ought to have said, and then I speech it in my dreams. I am so darn effective, and everybody listens to me. But I also have 5 children that I get to practice my speech and debate tactics with. And as they get older, it gets harder because they bring better arguments. Practice. Written persuasion. Let us tenderly and kindly cherish the means of knowledge. Once again, John Adams asking us to dare to write. We don't all have to write books, but books are a really great way to persuade people about things. Essays, letters, emails, resolutions, like the beautiful one that we passed yesterday about parental rights, texts, social media. The whole entire website is an exercise in written persuasion. And you have to think about what your effect of your writing will be on the people who are listening to you. We don't write in a vacuum. If you want to be effective, you have to think about, what's my audience? What do I want them to know? What do I want them to feel? What do I want them to do because they read something I wrote or listened to something that I said? And if you can answer those questions, you can be clear, you can be direct, you can be more effective. This is an AI-generated image of Abigail Adams writing to John saying, remember the ladies.
She was never that pretty. A lovely lady.
There is no photographic evidence that she was never that pretty. We have no photographic evidence. Example. Let's get to example. Our example can often speak louder than our words. The way we live matters. when we say no as an individual, just all by yourself, to an incorrect form, we're talking like platonic forms, right? Like the form of healthcare. And I'm going to say no to it by saying no to this COVID shot. I'm going to say no to it by saying no to this mask. I'm going to say no to it by not taking drugs when I can find alternative ways to heal my body or help me or my children. When you say no to incorrect forms, I know this sounds woo, but it's true. Your vibe goes up and your capacity to your power increases. Whenever you say no to what actually isn't good for you or anybody else, you become more powerful and you stand independent of other people and are able to act more. When you say yes to correct forms, the same thing happens. I say no to government schools. Just no. Just no. And I don't need to get in an argument with anyone. I would love to persuade everyone to like absolutely dismantle this thing, but me not participating counts. Me not showing up for that thing, it matters. So the way you live matters. And the cumulative effects of that, especially when you find people who are also choosing to live like that, it grows. I have an example of this with our public school district in my county. Just sent out one of the weirdest things we've ever seen. And it was the superintendent inviting everyone to a homeschool town hall because he's hemorrhaging money from all of the kids that are dropping out of his schools. And it is beautiful. It's so exciting to me. And I'm just like, what? What is happening? Is he really asking our opinion on things? Oh, he's going to get an earful from me. I sent him a big, long essays worth of things because they asked some good questions. And I was like, if they're going to be vulnerable enough to ask questions like, what could we do to get you back? It answered nothing. But also, maybe if you stop taking all taxation money because it's theft and found ways to voluntarily fund your projects, and if you were to, I don't know, be radically different than you are, then I might start to consider it, right? But do we embody the principles of people who can govern themselves? The more we practice self-government, the more legs we actually have to stand on. So my friend who helped found our Home Education Commonwealth, which is a 501c3, 5 years ago we started this. We've learned a ton trying to do this, trying to persuade other people to join us, trying to write bylaws for this so that we can be a self-governing body. That's a lot better position to come and talk to the superintendent from, of like, hey, we actually have an alternative model that works. And we're educating our children on pennies compared to what you are educating these kids with or pretending to educate them with. And it costs so much in personnel and so much in tax dollars and so much in time. And actually, you're not even all that effective. We're like third from the bottom as far as their own standards of what they care about. Anyway. We've got William Wilberforce here. I don't know if you know about him. I just love that man. What a cool guy. He tried to change the culture with his example. He's like, we're not going to be depraved. We're not going to be depraved anymore. And so he started clubs of people to like talk about how can we live better? How can we level up? Because he knew that he couldn't do the thing he really wanted to do, which was abolish the slave trade and abolish slavery, if the people were immoral. So he tried to raise their morality. How can you do that if you're immoral yourself? It's really hard. I haven't tried it. I'm really trying, really trying to be moral, really trying to be the kind of example that could be duplicated. Ultimately, the Savior himself is our example. And that gives us a lot of like, I don't have to be perfect in order to make a difference. You don't have to be perfect in order to make a difference. But the more good you are, it helps. George Washington said, forgive me. He stands up in front of his men and he has to put his glasses on to read them something. And it's like, I've grown gray and blind in your service. That example touched their hearts. And they knew that they were not following someone who was in it for himself. They were following someone who was leading by example in the way that we could all live. Prayer. We've heard a little bit about prayer. Prayer is super duper effective. One of my very, very favorite people that my kids introduced me to through a VeggieTales episode, they're like, Mom, you gotta come see this. This guy sounds like you, Mom. And I'm like, okay, tell me about it. So they show me this little like mini, it's a mini moment in a random VeggieTales movie. At one point, my second daughter was like, I want all the VeggieTales, Mom. Can you make sure that you get those? Those are on my wish list for birthdays, those are on my wish list for Christmas. I'm like, you got it, hon. You're requesting something delightful, of course. So they pull me in, and it's the story of George Mueller. You've heard of George Mueller? This man who ran orphanages in England, and he never campaigned for money. He never asked for donations. God said, you take care of these kids. And he said, how? I don't have any money. And God said, it's okay, I'm rich. Millions of dollars passed through his hands in the service of these children who had nothing. And it was all through prayer. George Mueller said, there's not a more blessed and powerful weapon for the children of God than that they should give themselves to prayer. Oh, see, I got it right here. You guys can read it along with me. For thus they can have the power of God on their side, the almighty power of God. And by making use of this power through the instrumentality of prayer in all things we need, we can have the infinite wisdom of God brought to work for us and have God himself at our side as the children of God. Therefore, we should seek to make far better use than ever we have done of prayer. That's empowering to me. Like, what could we accomplish if we trusted that God already had it figured out? He's already got it covered. All we have to do is apply to him for help. I have a couple of examples of this. One is, well, I'm sure you all know how to pray, but I've learned things about how to pray that have helped me be a better prayer. And one of them is to be okay with any outcome. As the Savior said, not my will, but mine be done. He was okay with any outcome. There's what he wanted. He's like, can this cup pass from me? But I'll do what you want. So being really, truly okay with any outcome, like Janine was, thinking this one thing is going to fail, like there's no way. If we can open up ourselves to say, God, I don't know how you're going to get this done, and I don't have to know how, but I trust that you can get it done, and I plead with you too. Being open to not knowing how is such a cool way to exercise faith. That I taught this to the girls at Young Women's Camp. I was at church camp with all the young ladies, 12 to 18, and I was in charge of the photography for them so that they didn't bring their phones and look at them the whole time. Okay, so here you can have pictures still, professional photographer. I'm going to take your pictures and I'm going to print them out. They'd never seen a printed picture before. They were so jazzed. Oh my goodness, it was so fun. But then I'm sitting there with this girl who was kind of on my team, and the printer wasn't working. And this was our only job. And we're in the middle of the woods. And I'd tested it and I was ready. And I was like, okay, here's where we pray, girls. Are you ready to see a miracle? Because God knows how this works. I've done everything I can do to make this work. Let's pray and ask for help. So we did. We prayed and we asked for help. And I did the same thing that I did after. I plugged it all in. I unplugged and replugged. My husband's in charge of the tech at our house often. Have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? Yes, I have. I'll try it again. And so I'm hearing him in my head. I'm like, I'm going to try it again. Go through all the steps. And this time, there was like a little toggle or an option that I hadn't really noticed before. All right, try that one instead. Boom, everything works. And I was like, girls, did you see what just happened? Things were not working. We prayed and asked for help. Now they're working. Now what do? We pray again and we thank God. Always return thanks. Is there anyone who's got trouble? Let him pray. Is anyone happy? Let him sing songs of praise. Is anyone sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them. This is how we take care of every problem. We can pray, and we can teach our children to pray. Service. Okay, service is really, really powerful. Where you might not have any chance with someone because their ears are closed to your oral persuasion, their eyes are shut to your written persuasion. They don't care about your example because they think you're a phony baloney for whatever reason. Service might do the job. I love the example of Desmond Doss. You may or may not have seen the film that depicts his courageous efforts. He's a pacifist and he doesn't want anything to do with war, but he goes and he signs up so he can serve and help and heal people. And his constant prayer was, let me save just one more. Let me save just one more. He didn't even touch a gun. That's service. And he was willing to take the flack for all of the misunderstanding that would happen. But when you know that you're standing on a correct principle and God's on your side, you can just keep doing it. And he did it. He saved 75 men at least, just going back for one more, one after another, serving them and healing and helping. George Washington, again, serving his country. When I tell my girls the story that it was like his whole adult life that he was in service of his country. He got a couple of years of retirement. We hear people talking about, oh, when I'm retired, I'm going to do this and that. And I'm just like, what does retirement even mean? Like, if you physically can't, that's something. But even people who physically can't can sometimes mentally can, or, like spiritually can do something, right? But in my life, I'm not planning to retire. Retire from what? Doing awesome stuff all day long, best of my ability? Who's going to retire from that? Like, we've got work to do. And then Corrie ten Boom. What an amazing lady that I was looking at you'll have to look this up. I meant to include it. The blueprint of their house was small. It was her room that they cut in a third off of to make room to hide people. Everybody else has their quarters and it's looking pretty normal. Go up in the corner, Corrie, and she shares it with someone else. Her and someone else are sharing this room that they cut then a third off of it to make space for someone else. Do we make space for other people? Are we serving them? Do we care about them? They'll feel it. They'll know. They'll know if we care about them. And we will have so much more influence and impact if we're willing to serve. I read this book, or at least most of it, and while I don't agree with all of the politics in it, this I found profound. In a gift economy, wealth is understood as having enough to share, and the practice for dealing with abundance is to give it away. In fact, status is determined not by how much one accumulates, but by how much one gives away. The currency in a gift economy is relationship, which is expressed as gratitude, interdependence, and ongoing cycles of reciprocity. That's from the book Serviceberry, and I think that is so completely beautiful. If we could master that, think what would be possible. Of course, property rights matter, but they matter so that I can give what I want to give to who I want to give it to bless people. The right use is righteousness. What's the right use of any wealth? To serve and bless and love people and help them. What's the right use of intelligence? To help other people become as intelligent as you are? What's the right use of energy? To lift the weary and the weak. Let's find the right use of all of our talents and gifts, and when we pool them, we've got everything. Finally, we come to the arts. Now, this one was hard for me to figure out at first because I had to try to teach this lecture to 16-year-olds and try to help them understand, how is it that the arts can be influential? And we're conservative people, right? So we don't get engaged in the culture in the way that progressives do. They get the power of culture. They're all over that. MTV and the Super Bowl and whatever's happening in pop music. Oh, they know how influential the arts are. Because music can go to the heart and the soul and the mind in a way that image and words can't. And it's finer matter. It's more indelible, for good or ill. But I really believe that beauty will save the world. And I think that claiming as much beauty as we can right now in our lives, in the midst of the struggles, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the impending doom that we obviously see around us, right? The more we can claim this birthright that John Adams wanted to give us, I think the easier it will be to just stand on the solid ground of that beauty. He's trying to write to Abigail and saying, man, it's just gorgeous over here. He's in Paris. It's so beautiful. I wish you could see what I can see. You've all heard this. At the end, he says, I must study politics and war that my sons may have liberty to study mathematics and philosophy. My sons ought to study mathematics and philosophy, geography, natural history, naval architecture, navigation, commerce, and agriculture in order to give their children a right to study painting, poetry, music, architecture, statuary, tapestry, and porcelain. Do we have a right to study beautiful things? Can we claim it? Will that help us? I think that it will. I think that so many people have paved the way on I'm still studying politics, by the way. I'm not going to get rid of that. Math, I may or may not spend a little bit of time on that. I care a ton about geography and history and commerce and agriculture, but if we can all more generally claim this right and this privilege to study what is beautiful, I think we'll learn a lot. We will go to beauty school where we can learn what's really worth knowing. What's the point of having freedom? What's the point of having a constitution that preserves it? so we can have beauty, so we can have joy. Beauty teaches us alignment, proportion, positive and negative, harmony, balance, and form, hue, saturation, contrast, symmetry, order, resolution, and peace. A beautiful piece of art can teach us that without having to say a word. Like this painting of these completely gorgeous little children. Maybe it's colored pencil. Forgive me, it really might be colored pencil. What can we learn from that? What would our lives be like if we spent a little time gazing at the beautiful? We become what we gaze upon. We become what we feast upon in our ears, in our souls. There's a lovely story about Charles Darwin, who was so up here and so sure he was seeing what was right. And he wrote about it, and he was like all puffed up, and everybody gave him all these accolades. Towards the end of his life, he's like, dang, I'm kind of hard-hearted. And he realized that he was hard-hearted. And he says, if I could go back, I'm paraphrasing, okay? If I could go back, I would like to listen to a little bit of beautiful music every day. I'd like to maybe read a little bit of poetry every day. Maybe look at some beautiful art. We're not just heads. We're not just floating heads. The public schools would love nothing more than to make us, as C.S. Lewis warned, men without chests. So how can we combat that? Let's not go fight the school board about it. Let's just fill our days and our lives and our children and our grandchildren's lives with the most beautiful, the most noble, the most appealing ways of understanding alignment and truth and harmony, so that when they see it in economy, they'll recognize it. How can you expect them to recognize truth if they have no experience with it? Beauty leads to truth, and that's why it matters. In one of my favorite people here, I'm going to show you a picture of her, Tasha Tudor. Have you heard of Tasha Tudor? She's a sweetheart. I'm going to show you this picture for a minute, though, because I think it goes with this quote that she loves by Fra Giovanni. The gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within our reach, is joy. Take joy. The women in this picture look like they're living in what could be a place that either was or will be or has been covered up by communism. But this woman looks really, really happy. And she's singing. And it reminds me of the Estonian singing revolution. Have you heard of this? This is so beautiful. The people of Estonia held on to their folk songs and they sang them. We're not just talking little kids singing them. Everybody sang their folk songs, and they got together for their annual festivals, even in the midst of trying to fight off communism. And 30,000 people are singing the same song. That's a lot of power. Do we do that? Have we ever done that? Could we do it? Margaret Eggleston said, how to obtain a rich personality: by loving the beautiful, by reading the worthwhile, by filling the mind with those things that are worthy of passing on, by cultivating a cheery disposition, by striving towards high ideals. I think this is worthwhile. I want to show you a couple of pictures of what our Commonwealth has done. Up here, we've got a picture of the Mother's Retreat. I think about this when I think about the world. God created this world. We're all living here. It's completely gorgeous, and there's so much variety in it. And I think we could all be having a decent mortal experience if it weren't beautiful. But it is beautiful. And there is variety, and it is gorgeous, and it is interesting. Why not make everything that we do beautiful and variety and filled with interest and special? My mom always says, nothing's special unless you make it special. So we made it special. We took the junk that we had in our houses and we strewed it across the tables and made it beautiful. We made banners with pieces of lace and coordinating fabric, and we sat together and we talked, and we had a mother's retreat. And we do this every year. And we nurture each other's hearts, and we practice oral persuasion. Every single one of the women who wanted to talk about something that they cared about and were passionate about, they had 10 minutes to stand up and talk about it. We learned about sprouting. We learned about detoxifying your life. We're crunchy people, you can tell. We learned about sourdough bread. We learned about, if I can do this, I can do anything, as one woman trained for a marathon. Here we have a picture of the Shakespeare kids in our Shakespeare Conquest class. They are encouraged to read, watch, or listen to at least 17 different Shakespeare plays. And they get a crown if they do. Look at all the kids who got crowns. We started with scrappy nothing. This first picture down here, these are the 5 kids who bothered with this class. The last time we did this class, last year, we had 14 kids. 14 kids who had read, watched, or listened to at least 17 Shakespeare plays and memorized a soliloquy. And then we put on a play. We put on a Shakespeare play. Guess how many people are putting on Shakespeare plays in my town? Just us. It's just us. And they come up with the theme themselves and they put it on and we invite the town and it pays for itself. And it's really, really cool to see what kids can do. This down here is our Civil War ball. We study the Civil War. We study the Gettysburg Address. We read the debates. And then we put on a ball and we learn actual folk dances and we dance together. And just dancing together is an act it's a political act. It says, I'm allowed to be alive. I'm allowed to be in community with these people. I'm allowed to have joy. And that's one of my rights as someone who's alive, is to be joyful. 5 more minutes, thank you. This is something my daughter copied down for me by John Ruskin. When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. If you feel like taking home some of these ideas or exploring them more, I invite you to look at these websites, the BellamDream.org, librariesofhope.com, and lemmyhomeschool.com. BellamDream.org and Libraries of Hope are the outgrowth of one woman named Marlene Peterson trying to come up with something that was better. And what she has come up with is an entire free public domain library of pre-1928 literature that is written in beautiful literary language to children and parents and everybody on pretty much every subject: rocks, stars, European history, Native American history, African history. Stories from all over the world are represented here, as well as how to do it. A way to catch the vision for how the arts could replenish our hearts so that we could become the kind of people who could actually live in harmony and peace and live so separately and different from the world that their problems and their manias don't even matter to us anymore. And it's all voluntary, which I think is completely beautiful. She has, I've been part of this for 10 years. I've been reading her works. I've been reading the works that she's published for 10 years. I've been participating as a member of the Bellam at Home community that offers classes and clubs all online. But we now have a real property, a real actual property in Missouri where there's a folk school now where kids who are 18 and up can go and have hands-on farming experience and sing songs together and do dances and create a physical place where families can come to retreat together. Beautiful stuff. Librariesofhope.com has all of the resources. You can do what's called the Catch the Vision course, so you can be more conversant in these ideas and why they matter and why the greatest generation was called the greatest generation, why the golden days were the golden days of whatever civilization, and how to get back to that. If we want to have a rich personality and beautiful lives, this is a great way to do it. LemmyHomeschool.com is the mind piece of this. They are the ones that teach, have created these projects for homeschoolers or anyone. The Shakespeare Conquest, The Sword and the Hero, that learns about Civil War and the next wars. Guys, sorry. World War I and World War II. We have a course on the Revolution and the Constitution. They have a project that was called Quest. It's all about leadership, looking at those at speech, at oral persuasion, written persuasion, diplomacy, wisdom, courage, and really reading as many biographies of great influential leaders as possible. So they have more than that there, but they also teach the principles of how to get this done. If you're leaving tyranny off the table, they've got great tools for how to actually accomplish this. Thank you so much for your time. If you'd like to contact me, this is my email address. This is my phone number. And then I would like to just end with a poem for you because it matters. Be strong. We are not here to play, to dream, to drift. We have hard work to do and loads to lift. Shun not the struggle. Face it, 'tis God's gift. Be strong, be strong, be strong. Be strong. Say not, the day is evil, who's to blame? And fold the hands and acquiesce, oh shame. Stand up, speak out, and bravely in God's name, be strong, be strong, be strong. Be strong. It matters not how deep entrenched the wrong, how hard the battle goes, the day how long. Faint not, fight on. Tomorrow comes the song. Be strong, be strong, be strong. Thank you. I don't know. I haven't been. I know. I'd like to go. I haven't been yet. I guess,
Any questions?
yeah, are there questions?
All right, thank you very much.
Trying to detangle from this. Thank you.
All right, that's all we have. That was our meeting. Appreciate all of our speakers today. We appreciate everybody coming out for this. I hope you all have some steps to take home with you, things you're going to start working on. Make sure on your way out you thank Janine and Lynn for the work they put into this. Make sure you turn your lanyards in to Megan. I think we already lost a few to those that early departed, and I forgot to mention it, but don't forget to turn those in. Cassie will hunt you down. That's right. All right, and as we leave here today, make sure you say goodbye to one another, stay in touch, and pledge your lives, your treasure, and your mutual honor. Jim, would you close us in prayer?
Shall we stand for prayer? God our Father, we thank you for a productive weekend, for the great speakers that we've had, where we've been challenged, the goals that have been set before us, just all the good things that have occurred, the fellowship, friendships that we have, the commonality of purpose. I just pray that we would go from this place energized and more committed to you and to advancing liberty in this land and restoring that which the locusts have eaten, restoring the principles of the founding of this country, and above all, to honor you in all that we do and say and think. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. All right, the chair will hear a motion to dismiss. Anyone? We got about 8 there. Take your pick. We have a second? Yes. All right. All those in favor signify by leaving. Have a great travel, everyone. We'll see you in the spring. I'm sorry, say again?
There was a part that you were supposed to do, Amendment 3.
Yeah.
Did you skip it? What was it?
It was going to be just a general overview of Article 3 of the Constitution
Okay.
with a period for question and answer so people could get
Oh, did it say
specific.
article? Did it say
Article 3, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And it was essentially, someone asked for us to look specifically at the Constitution, and that's why I was bringing it. But because we had a few things we had to be flexible on as far as time yesterday and things, it was a flexible part. So I think we missed a little something, but not a lot of something because we didn't want to miss a lot of something. We put the little something in.
Very good.
If you want a copy, you can go on X and find me at Elect Barnhill.
Oh, thank you so much.
TSA. Oh, it's right there.
You don't already follow the Constitution Party of New Hampshire on X? Come on.